5 plainclothes investigators. We don't know if they're local, state, federal. They were inside, and we saw a lot of activity inside the home, and the home was lit up. So we saw those men inside the home in the 2 particular rooms where the murders took place. We did not see them leaving with any materials. I asked them a couple of times, why are they back? They did not answer me. They pulled away. Why are you here tonight? They did not acknowledge me. So certainly they were on a mission and they left.
Well, hello there. How is everybody? I hope you're all well. On this one, I nearly said fabulous. Fab on a word, was it? Fabulous. Wonderful, wonderful midweek hump. The marvellous midweek hump. And this is video 2 of 2. So if you didn't check out video 1, after this, go check it out. We talk a little bit about Richard Allen and Delphi case and the fact that he could be walking free very soon. But in this one, as you know, we've just looked at some cowboys, and we're going to talk a little bit about said cowboys. And this was something that Drip Drop the other day did on his Cowboys and Crypto video. And I know some of you guys wonder why I've done some videos about, you know, what Drip Drop has spoken about, and I'm just going to touch on this very, very briefly. I'm acutely aware, because I actually take time to speak to people in my comments, that not everybody watches Drip Drop. Not everybody is feeling that Drip Drop is their cup of tea. Some people love him. Some people think he's absolutely amazing. I think he's great, but I'm acutely aware, like I'm not everyone's cup of tea. There will be people who totally adore Drip Drop and they will think I'm an asshole and don't want to listen to me, and that's it. You know, the thing is we want everybody to get the information that is out there, so it's so everybody's got access to it. That's very, very unfair to say that these people cannot have access to a certain piece of information because they don't gel with a specific creator. All creators on this platform should feel that if the information is valid and just and people have a right to see it, then who gives a fuck who says it? Mind your necks in, you bunch of spoons. You know who you are. But anyway, cowboys. So this video was apparently taken around the time that the DoorDash situation had blown up, when they were saying about that, and it was before, a few days, possibly a couple of weeks before, they'd even said that they were looking for a white Hyundai Elantra. That was when all these things were culminating together. So the question goes as to what on earth were these people doing going into this house in this fashion? Now, bearing in mind, things are very, very raw. This is very early days, this is. And you have to question yourself as to how could anybody say that that crime scene was not contaminated? There was no contamination of it at all. You've got people who are dressed up like the cast of Brokeback Mountain, walking into this house, wandering around, apparently leaving with nothing. I would imagine like Drip Drop zoomed in on someone's hand. He's got something in his hand. I would say that that is either a mask or potentially a glove, something like that he's had on in the house, and he's took the glove off. Which that in itself is quite suspect, because I think to myself, so you've not gone into the house completely suited and booted with your kind of hazmat style suit to protect yourself, but you've protected your hands because you're touching things. You're touching things with your hands and you don't want your fingerprints or whatever to go in. See, this is what makes me feel uncomfortable, because we've always questioned as to the integrity of this investigation against Bryan Kohberger. Where he is he in court now because of some just reason, or, and by just reason I mean, was there an investigation that properly led to him being there? And like, so many people feel that there's so much more coming. You're idiots because you think you've got everything. And I've asked this countless times. I never get answered. Never ever get answered. People can say till they're blue in the face that there is loads more evidence in the Idaho 4 case. It's going to come out in the courts. But then when you actually physically say to them, all right then, so what do you think they've got? And I'll say it again, and please put it in the damn comments down below. What other evidence do you think there is? What other stuff do you genuinely think there is against Brian Kohberger? What do you think there is? And if this was such a slam dunk fucking case, and that it was just a case of they've got his car, that can be proven beyond a reasonable doubt that's his car. They've got him probably on camera, that's what you think. And they've got this knife sheath that was there, and it was his DNA, and there's no issues with that situation either. Then why have you got these people entering in this house at this time of night in this fashion? Why? And why are they they're clearly hiding their identity from the camera. They don't want their faces on camera. What is that about? Please tell me what that is about. If some of you people who feel that Brian Kohberger is guilty, send him down the river, because you're the people who should be able to explain these things. Why did these people not want to get caught on camera? What? Those with nothing to hide nothing, and that includes their face. They must understand why the media was there. The media were there because this was a brutal killing where 4 young adults lost their lives. And that was going to be a media hive for a while. It still is. So when you're a law enforcement officer and you go in there, what did you do? You went there at night because you thought that there was less chance of there being a heavy media presence, but you needed to get in there. You needed to get in there. You went in there, but you weren't dressed appropriately to go in there. And you come out what seems to be clenching gloves in your hand that would say that you're either removing stuff or you're taking stuff in there. And then when you come out, you do everything in your power to cover your face so you're not seen. Why would you not interact with the media, even if it's just to say we are continuing to investigate the Idaho 4 case, and that has brought us to come back here this evening? We can't tell you any more than that, but be a face for it. Be forward, be up front, instead of cloak and dagger and shady. Because when you act cloak and dagger and shady, people will then wonder what is going on. And people might turn around and say, well, they don't need to explain. But it's not about needing to explain. It's how people carry themselves. It's how they act. It's how they behave. And this case, every single person who is on the opposition against Brian Kohberger, and I mean the prosecution, the law enforcement, everybody who's on this side of the fence, don't seem to be acting proper. And by proper, I mean, like we spoke briefly about in the Delphi case, you're seeing the same thing there. You've got a guy who very likely shouldn't be there. And you've got the defence now having to chase the prosecution for evidence, saying we just keep getting a drip, 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 drip. And we need this to be concrete. We need this to be solidified, a date to say we need everything, we need it by then and sort it out. And we're seeing the same situation over in Idaho where they're not given 7 times. Brian Kohberger's legal team have had to request documentation to assist with them being able to build their defence, and that is wrong. And then you've got these sort of situations where you've got people entering themselves into this property and then hiding themselves. You've got the situation where apparently officers were interviewing certain people around this case in the Idaho 4 case and attending the autopsy, and that's why Ann Taylor was asking for the records, because they used an excuse that these people, these officers, were in these positions because they specialised in it. But yet the autopsy recording where that officer was in that recording can't be found. Like, there isn't a recording of Brian Kohberger's interview when he was arrested. And Ann Taylor then goes and says, I want the trainer records then. You're telling me that these people are interviewing these people specifically, and they're going and spending time at this coroner's office with the coroner, and the recording doesn't exist. You don't know whether it exists anymore. I want to see the trainer records that say that they should have been there. Why they were there. It's just, the more you look at these things, the more something don't sit right. Something's dodgy. There's so many things in there that don't sit right, and there's so many people with their head in the sand not wanting to admit to it. But please tell me down below, what were these cowboys doing in this house? What were they doing? Why did they not want media to see their faces? And with things like this happening, how can you 100% know that things weren't going into that house that shouldn't have been going in there in order to form a case against somebody. Because it weren't long after this that, lo and behold, we're now starting to look for a specific person, a specific car. The skeptical mind. Love y'all, and I will catch you all in the next one. That's right.